Welcome, friends. I'm so glad to have you here today for core progression number 2. All we're going to need for today's workout is a pillow or a ball, something that we can use for the inner thigh squeezes. Now let's start on the mat today. We're going to start just by relaxing and taking a few nice big deep breaths. We're going to be checking in with the diaphragm, with the pelvic floor, making sure that everything is nice and relaxed, and then we're bringing that breath down into the belly. So put your hands on your belly. Let's really relax as we inhale, expand, soften the pelvic floor. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor and wrap through the TVA. Really feel that tension leaving your shoulders here as we inhale and expand. Exhale, lift and tighten just gently. Good, relax through your neck, through your face muscles as we inhale here. A little lift through the pelvic floor as we exhale and wrap. All right, so let's start on our back. We're going to start laying down, feet flat on the ground, knees bent up. We're going to come into a pelvic tilt here. So we did these before. If it helps, place the hands on the hips, and we're going to just tilt and rock the hips back on the exhale here. We've got 10 reps. Soften that pelvic floor. Expand through the ribs on the inhale. Rock it back as we breathe out. Good. Inhale and relax. Exhale. Think about zipping up through the core. Inhale and open. Exhale, up and in. Inhale, really soften. As we exhale, rock those hips back. Flatten that small of the back into the ground. Let's try and inhale through the nose and then out softly through the nose or the mouth here. Inhale and expand. Exhale, rock back and zip up through the abs, through the transverse abdominals. Good, feel that nice cinching effect right there through that area right below the belly button. Exhale. Good. The next move up is half-inch foot lifts. So we want to lift that foot just a half inch off the ground as we exhale. So exhale, wrap through the transverse abdominals, little tiny lift through the foot, as if this motion is just coming right from the breath in the core. Again, if we do a big motion, it's harder to feel right through the core muscles, so alternate your feet, lifting just a tiny bit. Exhale, wrap, and lift that foot. Checking in with that pelvic floor. Expand on the inhale. Lift gently up and in on the exhale. Pair that with your foot lift here. Exhale, hover that foot just above the ground, feeling the breath be what's moving your core, what's powering this motion. Making sure we're getting nice expansion through the ribs with each inhale. A nice wrap, zip, however you want to think about it, with each exhale. Awesome work, guys. Here we're going into knee fallouts. So what we want to think about is dropping your knee out to the side just enough until you feel you're right at that point where that opposite hip wants to lift up off the ground. So we want to inhale and then exhale through that whole dropping out motion. Kind of finding that point right where you kind of feel the abs kick on to really stabilize so that your pelvis doesn't rock to the side. Good. We inhale here. We exhale through this whole motion of dropping out to the side. Right to that point, right before your hips are going to want to lift, that opposite hip's going to want to lift. You can put your hands up in the air. Sometimes that helps really feel that sweet spot that we're looking for in the core. Exhale as that knee falls out to the side and back up. Again, we want to feel that the breath and that lower abdominals are really what's powering this motion. Feel it in the inner thighs a little bit too. Expand on that inhale. Ride the exhale down and back up. You can also try inhaling on the way down and exhaling on the way up. Whatever feels best for you, just make sure you're feeling that nice engagement of those lower abs, paying attention to finding that sweet spot, that point right before your pelvis is going to roll to the side. We want to create stability through this move. All right, guys, awesome job. Here we're going into a glute bridge. We want to make sure the feet are flat on the floor. The glutes are nice and relaxed. And as we exhale, we lift up, we drive through our heels, and we squeeze the butt nice and tight. One trick here is to keep the elbows off the floor. That way you're really working right through the glutes and not being assisted by your arms at all. Good. Exhale and then lift. Squeeze the butt right there. And then inhale as we set the hips down, soften the pelvic floor. The key here is to get that nice straight line with a neutral pelvis. I think the typical thing sometimes is to feel this in the low back if we push our hips too far up. So we want to squeeze our glutes, but keep that pelvis in a nice neutral alignment so that we're feeling it through the glute max and not through the lower back. Good, keep driving through the heels on each exhale. And we inhale as we set the hips down. Remember, lift the pelvic floor as we initiate each exhale. We want to breathe out just before we start the movement. Driving through the glutes, holding here on this last rep. Ready? Drive up through the heels, squeeze the glutes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Making sure that you're feeling that through the lower abs the whole time. Awesome work, guys. Hopefully you're feeling that bun burn just a little. Next, we're going into a march. So we want to lift one knee up off the ground, pulling with those lower abdominals. Again, if we bring this knee all the way up to the chest, it's going to feel a little bit easier. So we want to keep this range of motion pretty small and feel that pairing with the breath here. So we inhale and expand, exhale, wrap and lift. Good. Feel that hip flexor and the lower abs wrapping and zipping with each motion. Good. Inhale, relax the pelvic floor. Exhale and we lift up and in. Good, just to show you the belly a little bit better here. Exhale and wrap. Inhale, we relax. Exhale, march that knee up just a little. You can play around with your range here. Exhale, zip it up. Inhale and soften. Exhale and march. And relax. Good. Coming to our side for the clamshell. So you can do this with a band or wrapped around your knees or with a dumbbell on that top leg, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to do this with no weight. What we want to think about here is keeping the hips stacked on top of each other so that we're not rolling that top hip back as we open the top leg. So we want to soften and inhale here. Exhale as we lift that top leg up. Soften and wrap. Good. Think about releasing the pelvic floor and then lifting up and in as we lift that top leg. You can kind of use this as a little bit of a range of motion work, trying to find that nice external rotation of that top hip. Hold there for a second and relax and release. Good. You should feel this right in the side of your butt, kind of that glute med area. Good. Flip it over. Same thing on the other side. Again, stack those hips. Make sure that top hip doesn't roll back. And we exhale to lift. Inhale as we bring it down. Exhale, wrap. Inhale, release. Good. Again, adding a band or weight as needed, or just using this exercise as almost an active range of motion. Good. Feeling that top glute. There you go, right there, the glute med. Rotating out. Good. Exhale, lift that belly up and in with each one. Inhale and soften. Exhale and lift. Breathing out again through nose or mouth, but always inhaling through the nose here. All right, now grab your pillow or your Pilates ball, whatever you have on hand. A rolled up towel is fine as well. Here we work in the inner thighs, so same thing, just the opposite motion, working the adductors. So as we breathe out, we are squeezing our knees together and then relaxing on the inhale. So exhale, squeeze the knees nice and tight, feeling those inner thighs activating. Exhale and squeeze. Inhale and relax and soften. Again, check in with the pelvic floor. Make sure we're feeling it relax and soften on the inhale. That gentle lift up and in here with each squeeze. Remembering we're breathing through the nose as much as possible. Relax. Nice big squeeze. Zipping up those inner thighs together. Lifting up and in with that belly button. Doing great, guys. Those inner thighs will thank you. Good. Flip it around, other side. The inner thighs are so important to work with our core because they attach right there to the bottom of the pelvis. And they're pretty integral with the function of the pelvic floor and the core. So we want to make sure we're giving those inner thighs lots of love. Good. Inhale and relax. Exhale, give that nice tight squeeze to the pillow or the ball, whatever you're using. Zip up through the core. Relax and expand. Let's make sure that that breath is staying down there through the belly, through the ribs, not traveling up into the chest, into the shoulders as we do this. Sometimes as we add a little bit of resistance, we sort of unconsciously start to breathe up through the chest a little bit more. We really want to keep this down there through the belly. Continue to work the transverse abdominals with each repetition. Exhale and squeeze. Nice job, ladies. All right, last one, we're going to go to a quadruped kickback here. So coming on to hands and knees, we want to find a nice neutral spine here so that our hips, our pelvis is nice and even, that we don't have too big of an arch in that low back. We want to lift that belly up and in as we exhale and kick back. Belly comes up and in. We want to squeeze the glute as we kick straight back. We're not lifting up for height here. We're thinking about a nice long, straight line through the body. Good. Exhale as we kick back. Oh, there's my son Caleb. Don't mind the kids in the background. They're always around. If you're a mom, I know you understand. Good. Keep it working. Exhale to lift. Good. Inhale as we lower. Switch it up. Check in with those shoulders. Exhale as we kick straight back. Really squeeze that glute. Think about making that nice long line from the top of your head all the way down through your leg here. We want to think about keeping that pelvis nice and still as we kick back. We don't want to lean out to one side too much. Imagine you're balancing a cup right there on that low back. Hug those lower abs up and in with each breath. Check in with the pelvic floor. Make sure you can feel that lift up and in, and then that nice big expansion here. Good. Your glutes will thank you for that one. All right, ladies, awesome job today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the mat next time.